मेरे मौला अल्लाह, मेरे मौला अल्लाह।
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal fajr wa layalin ashrin wash shafi wal watr wal layli idha yasr hal fi dhalika qasamun lidhi hijr. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Amma ba'd. We begin by praising Allah Azza wa Jal, the Exalted, and we thank Him that He has enabled us to sit here for a short while to hopefully learn about the blessings and the blessed days of the Hijjah, namely the first 10 days, and also its significance and importance. Because many of us, as strange it might sound, if I was to tell you what did you all do, if I was to mention the 27th of Ramadan, every single one of us will know straight away what we mean. Laylatul Qadr. The whole, you could say the apex or the climax of Ramadan comes to Laylatul Qadr. People have been fasting, people have been trying to recite as much of the Quran as possible that they finish on the night of Qadr. Why? Because they know it's got such virtue and such reward that it is better than 1,000 months. If it's better than 1,000 months, what happens is that we then try to then accumulate whatever good deeds that we have. We exert so much more effort on that night. Even the sharabis, even the people who are druggies, even the alcoholics, even the people who don't pray on that night, they make sure they are there because they know it's the blessing of that night, isn't it? So we all are familiar of Laylatul Qadr. Now, if I was to ask you, brothers and sisters who are listening, is that did you know that if we are giving so much significance to that one night of the year, did you know that each 10 days of Dhul Hijjah equivalent to Laylatul Qadr? But where's the importance and significance in me and you? If it is such that we prepare and we plan and we articulate our ibadat and worship, our recitation of the Quran, and it comes to a climax of Laylatul Qadr, the 27th night, and we're hoping and praying that we reach that night. We hope and pray that we're alive on that night. We hope and pray that we can do so much ibadat on that night. And let's say, for example, I'm telling you that, let's say that if you have such significance for that night, one night, imagine that Allah SWT is giving us an opportunity now to spend not just one night, 10 days and nights of Dhul Hijjah in that scenario. But we don't know the significance of these 10 days and nights. We just think it's another month, another day, and that's it. Does hardly anybody actually talk about it? Maybe few will talk about it. What do we know is that Dhul Hijjah, oh yes, this is the month in which we go for Hajj. People get ready to do the practice of Hajj. Eid is going to be in that month as well. We do Hajj and that's it. That's all we know. But the Prophet ﷺ, come to the narration, is that the Prophet emphasized that there is no greater days than the days of Dhul Hijjah in the sight of Allah SWT. It is the most beloved days and the beloved time in the sight of Allah SWT. He ﷺ, in one of the narrations, they said that there is nothing to match these days. Nothing. Nothing to match these days of Dhul Hijjah. He ﷺ said is that the chief, he could the Sayyid al-Shuhur, Sayyid al-Shuhur, the leader or the chief of all the months is Ramadan. And the mightiest of them and the hurmat of them is Dhul Hijjah. Then he ﷺ used some of the narration as related by Sayyidina Ghosbak in Al-Ghunya, said that during the lifetime of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a man who was extremely fond, like some of our brothers and sisters in this time and day and age. Some people like to listen to music, some people like to actually recite songs, raps, musical instruments, beats, and so on. So there's this one particular person at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, one particular person who was very much extremely fond of vocal music, sama', and also singing. He used to like to sing as well. He was very fond of it. So much so that people would know, and he was quite famous in the areas, in the surrounding areas, that they knew him by this, that he used to love singing songs. He'd actually like to actually play songs, sing the songs, and also entertain people. But as soon as the moon of Dhul Hijjah appeared, imagine this is such a person. We can give this scenario in this time and age where there are brothers who like to listen to music, there are sisters who like to listen to pop music, rap, and so on and so on. But as soon as Dhul Hijjah would come, as soon as he see the moon of Dhul Hijjah, he would start the day in fast. Straight away, moon has come, that's it. He abandons everything, starts fasting. The story came to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, there's a person who does this. He does this out of Dhul Hijjah. His habit is this, he sings and he likes to sing, he's very fond of it. But as soon as Dhul Hijjah comes, he hits and he sees the moon, what does he do? He starts fasting and he abandons that. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, okay, bring him here. So they brought the man in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ. He ﷺ then asked, "O my ummati, what prompts you to do this devout action? What prompts you? What is it? Why is it that you start fasting in these days? Why is it that you start fasting and you abandon all these funness of music and singing and so on? How come you abandon them? What makes you actually do this?" He said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that these are the days in which the righteous ceremonies and the days in which people are massed to do Hajj, pilgrimage. These are the days when people coming around, the pious people, righteous people, good people, they'll be coming around to actually perform the rituals of Hajj. And I so dearly wish that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might also enable me that the dua of the Hujjaj, whatever dua that they make, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala includes me in the kubuliyat of that dua of theirs. Because I know my state, I know I am sinful, but I am praying and hoping that these people, these Arabis, these worshippers who come from all flocks of the regions to come and perform Hajj, I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala includes me in the kubuliyat of the dua. Because of this. On hearing this, the Prophet ﷺ told the man, now imagine, here is, what do we do? Okay, we hear, no. On hearing this, Rasulullah was so pleased with what he said, he then gave a bashara, an indication of how blessed it is to fast even for one day in the days of Dhul Hijjah, especially in the 10 days. He said, for each and every day you devote yourself towards what? Fasting. You'll be rewarded with freeing 100 slaves. Now, I know it's very hard for me and you to understand because the slavery has been abolished and abandoned to a certain extent, more or less. But in certain parts you see, if you go to third world countries, there may still be this system of slavery, but not as zahir as it was. Only 50 years back you need to see how our elderly generation, our great-grandparents who were under the slave ship of the British Empire and others and so on. So it's very unfamiliar territory for me and you to understand slavery. But at that time of the Prophet ﷺ, it was apparent everywhere, including in amongst the people of the time, including amongst the Sahabi at that time. And slowly, slowly, how did Islam eradicate slavery? Is by, if you see it, how the verse of the Quran comes, how to give equality, how to actually encourage by giving this sort of incentives. That if you free a slave, you get such salvation. If you free a slave, Allah will become so pleased with you. So Islam was actually giving them the methodology in which slavery could be abolished. The system of abolishment of slavery was actually introduced by Islam in 1400 years ago. How to abolish it, how to actually eradicate it, because the verses of the Quran and the hadith, and this hadith is a classic example of showing that if you were to fast, as if you freed 100 slaves. Now if you were to really free a slave, you would have got such a reward, and Rasulullah would have mentioned it. So enticing the people to give up. It wasn't like a foretold command, stop it. The do's and don'ts, you shouldn't do it, it's haram. Slowly, slowly change their mindset. That's what Islam does. It tries to slowly, slowly mold and change the mindset of people, which then makes it easier for them to eradicate this evil and easier for them to actually start accompanying this good and adopt this good. And that's the beauty of Islam. That's the beauty in which Rasulullah actually conveyed the message of Islam. So look at this hadith, is that fasting just one day of fast in the days of Dhul Hijjah is as if the reward of such is that you have actually freed 100 slaves. Or another reward is that not just freeing 100 slaves, is that each slave will be given as if you've given 100 camels for them to ride and go to their journey. It's as if you've he didn't say given 100 camels in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. No, he saying is that it's as if you freed 100 slaves and also accompanied them that you've given 100 camels so they can actually use that the means to transport themselves to wherever they want to go. Even more of a reward. And then what only that is that with 100 mares for you to ride on, i.e. mares is that these are like horses in which you can actually go and fight in the way of jihad. Equipping them to actually then go and do the necessities of Islam. So this is just one reward. Another reward comes, that there's another reward tenfold, 1,000 times more reward. It's another narration, but we'll leave that. The day when it comes for Taraweeh is that you'll be credited with actually freeing 1,000 slaves. 1,000 slaves with 1,000 she-camels and 1,000 mares to ride on. And then in the day of Arafah, if you were to fast on the day of Arafah, you were rewarded with freeing 2,000 slaves. So from 100 to 1,000, and then if you get onto the day of Arafah and you're fasting the day of Arafah, you're rewarded with 2,000 slaves, with 2,000 she-camels, with 2,000 mares. Not only that, you'll be credited of keeping fast one whole year before and 1 year, whole year afterwards as well. So 2 years of fast as well. Now, what we're saying is that when you hear these some of us, we like the carrot and stick methodology. We like these incentives, and it's good. And that's why if you look at the hadith, he's presenting, here's an incentive for you, keep fast. If we hear this reward, it's amazing. It's like you think, subhanAllah, I should be trying to at least keep 1 or 2. And if I can't keep the 10, this is the reward that awaits for me, if I do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But a lot of us, what we'll be doing, it will be leading our normal lives. So if on this day, remember this, that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, through the messengership of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying is that these are the most blessed days in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, know something else as well. Is that it means is that if you do any good deeds, there's no better day to do good deed than these days, these 10 days. There's no time or any other day in which you can actually be exhausting your efforts into doing good deeds than these 10 days. But likewise, remember, is that to do any bad deed as well, a sin in these days will have profound effects as well. similar proportion as well. Just like day of Friday and the night of Friday. Blessed. Just like in month of Ramadan, to do good deeds is blessed. But to do a bad deed is really severe as well. Similarly, the days of Dhul Hijjah is that to do good deed, you should busy yourself, exert yourself, but at least try and refrain from the haram and the evil. Look at this Sahabi who just said that this blessed companion, that as soon as he saw the days of Dhul Hijjah coming, he abandoned his act and he started fast. So another mean that we can take from that one indication is that fasting isn't that just stop from eating and drinking. Fasting means that really literally fasting here is that those things that is going to hinder you from actually going towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His obedience, fasting means is to stop that. To stop it. That is what fasting is the indication of fasting's meaning here, is that to stop those things that is going to stop you reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stop it. Now in these 10 days, what happened? Sayyidina Ghosbak says that these are the 10 days in which Sayyidina Adam's tawbah was accepted. If you want to do tawbah, let's say for example, I'm a sinful person, from head to toe, I'm full of sin. There is no better day or better night for you to do tawbah than the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. Hasa Jabal Rahmah, those of you gone, sat in sujood and crying and beseeching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is in these days in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his tawbah. It is now for those of you who say, okay, I'm sinful, adopt tawbah. Return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those of you who are more advanced, those of you who are you're obedient, you're steadfast, you're worshipping, and you want that presence, you want that friendship. It is in these days of Dhul Hijjah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected Ibrahim Islam to build the Kaaba, to establish direction and purpose for whole of the Muslim world. Is that it is these days, if you are scattered, you're scattered. For those of you who are wondrously going haphazardly here and there and everywhere, and you need to revise and refresh what's going with me, what's going on in my life, what is happening to me. I'm going here, I'm going there, my work, my family, my troubles, my pains, my joys, it's all over the place. And sometimes your life feels like that. It feels like a crazy milkshake, you could say. There's some strawberries there for some reason, but there's also you put some lemon there. It doesn't go together. You mix in this shake, you mix in this juice. It feels like a milkshake. It feels like a cocktail. There's happiness, there's joyness, there's sadness, there's gloominess. There's also pain and sorrow. And it's unbearable. That's how it feels. It's unbearable. This life becomes unbearable. Well, by Ibrahim Islam building the Kaaba in these days, in other words, is that you build your sense of direction in these days as well. Refresh. Think. How can I now go and refocus my life and energy so that it's in the direction and purpose towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His rida. Wherever I am, whatever step I am in, if I'm sinful, if I'm obedient, if I'm actually astray, if I'm actually on piety, how can I now go even more focused and towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? For those of you more advanced, who are worshiping and being obedient, and you wish to have that intimacy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is in these 10 days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam to actually have his intimate conversation. He called him to Mount Sinai and have this conversation. You want intimacy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There's no better days to have that intimacy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than these 10 days. You want to talk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Open your heart and open mind and converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the best days to actually do it. Those of you who actually aspire that you want to now make a firm conviction that you're willing, like we're going to mention about Qurbani, that you're willing now to actually be steadfast upon the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His commands and His orders. The Bayt of Ridwan, which a Sahabi did to the Prophet ﷺ, was done in these 10 days of Dhul Hijjah as well. that we're willing to sacrifice our life for Allah's sake. And that is exactly what you're doing with Qurbani. Qurbani is basically, is that, we're going to go into it, but Qurbani is what you're doing is that Allah says, give me your life. You should be ready to give your life. That is what Qurbani is, sacrificing your life. But because the time has not come and He's not ordered to give your life, as a substitute, we give an animal to represent the sacrifice of our life. What is life? Joy, happiness, bliss, sorrows, intimacy, friendship, familyship, brotherhood, community, all this independence and all these things which is life consists of, wealth, pleasure, aspirations, everything is saying, it goes into this animal and you say, Ya Rabbul Alameen, finish. It's for you. My life is for you. My desires for you. My love, my enjoyment, my pleasure, my sorrow, my bitterness, everything is for you. That is Qurbani. That is what Allah is saying, is give me your life, okay. I have not ordered you to give me life. Show and exemplify to me that you're willing to give a substitute. And that is what the animal given is. The sacrificial animal is an indication of what Qurbani should be. We'll come back to on that another time, in a while. So these are the days in which those of us wanted to do Tawbah, no better day. Those of us who want to actually have intimacy with Allah, there's no better day. Those of us who want to actually start having a sense of direction, there's no better day to actually establish a sense of direction than these days. Those of us who actually want to do ibadah, there's no better day than to establish your worship towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these days. There's no better days than this. Now the thing is, you've just heard how, if I said to you how precious these days are, how precious these nights are, what do we do a whole year when Ramadan comes? We plan. In order to avail what? The opportunities and blessing of Ramadan, we plan ahead. You've still got time left now to plan that you maximize these 10 days of the Hijjah. Especially the 10 days. You have time. This hadith, by the way, doesn't say whoever fasts in the first 10 days. It doesn't say Asharat Ayyam. No. It says the whole of the month of Dhul Hijjah. So now, is that what is me and you going to do now by hearing this fadila of the blessing of these days? If we just sit here, and for example, it may be starting on Saturday or Friday night or Saturday night, whatever they declare that is Dhul Hijjah. If we sat here and we've made no plans whatsoever, me and you are going to be depriving of ourselves of the most blessed days and nights of the whole year. Deprivation. I'm telling you is that each day and night of these 10 days of the Hijjah is equivalent to Laylatul Qadr. Now everybody would jump on the bandwagon on Ramadan, whoever it is, person who's even practicing, you say, I want Laylatul Qadr. I am saying that you can have each day of the first 10 days is equivalent to Laylatul Qadr. Come on those days and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should be jumping at it. The thing is, you're working. You're in your studies. Now it's holidays, alhamdulillah, for students, they have no excuse. What excuse do you have? You have no excuse. You can maximize as much as possible. University, college, school, you've got no excuse. Those of us who are at work, now you need to think, how can I make sure that I get to actually do some worship? That I get to, like we said, do tawbah. That I get to now have that intimacy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That I solidify my purpose and direction in life. That I manage to actually make sure that I establish my communion with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these days. How can I do it? Because something's got to change. If these days and these nights are so blessed, I want that blessing in my life. I want that blessing to transform me. I want that blessing to change me. And if you want that, you need to plan. Plan. How are you going to spend these days and nights? What are you going to do? How are you going to have the rest? How can he sacrifice some sleep? How can you sacrifice some time? Where the wastage that you have normally, where you be watching movies and dramas, like you heard this Sahabi, what he did, he stopped abandoning these acts which is not going to be fruitful for him. He abandoned that. Cannot me and you abandon watching dramas and movies for 10 days at least? Can we not abandon going to clubbing and fornicating for 10 days at least? Can we not abandon actually going to friends and having a kebab for the sake of worshipping for 10 days at least? Can we not do that? Can we not abandon sinful friends for 10 days at least? I am telling you, those people who are even addicts, I'm not talking about drugs, even cigarettes is a type of drug, but even cigarettes, for 10 days, if they actually try, they can even abandon that for 10 days and sacrifice it. Qurbani, this is what I mean by Qurbani, that can you not do this for 10 days? You can. And because if you can do this for 10 days and plan it ahead and get an extra bit of time where the wastage would be, then maybe through the barakah of that effort that you make, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will actually promote you to higher degrees of iman and faith and help you to succeed in whatever you're wanting. But we need to demonstrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we do want this. That we do want, Ya Rabbal Alamin, we do want you. We want your Qurbani nearness and we want to actually change. But we have to show and demonstrate it. And not treat it like any other days and any other. Just like you don't treat Laylatul Qadr like any other days and any months, do you? You don't treat Ramadan like any other day and any month. No, everybody, look, why is it so easy for us to fast in Ramadan? Because everybody's doing it. Why is it so easy for us to now worship in Ramadan? Because everybody's doing it. Similarly, if you as a household unit, if you as a community, this masjid, this center that you come into, if you as a community now encourage and motivate one another to do, you find it easier. That effort that you see, my brother, my uncle, my sister, my friend here, he's doing it, I should do it. It makes it easier for you. And that's why when you do as a collective, it's easier. When you're doing your own, it's a little bit more difficult. Some days you feel a bit winning, but because you know the brother next to you is in the surf, he's fasting, he's helping, he's worshipping, I should try to now also be like that as well. That is a community effort that you can do as a masjid and promote this as a masjid. So planning, that needs rigorous planning. Second thing you need to understand is priority. What in these days literally is that what kind of significance are you giving? That's what literally now we're coming to the bit of Qurbani. That Qurbani means here sacrificing. In other words, priority. If I was to ask you, everybody just think for a while, what is the most beloved thing to you in your life? What is the most beloved thing? Some of you will say, my mother. Some of you will say, my father. I think nowadays it's very less these days. Everybody goes for mother. My sons and daughters, they obviously go for the mother, not myself. Must have gone wrong there. Some of you might say daughter. Some of you might say son. Some of you might say business is the most beloved thing. I worked so hard for this. Some of you might say my car. Some of you may say my house. Some of you might say my intellect. I'm very clever. Some of you may say my club, my football club is the most beloved thing. Some of you may say my nation is the most beloved thing. Now, let's imagine what you've got, which is the most, just think for a while, what is the most beloved thing to you? Now, if I was to say to you, a hukm has come from Allah, I'm just saying for the sake of understanding, a hukm has come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to now sacrifice it. You have to leave it. You have to abandon it. How hard will it be for you? How easy would it be for you? Some of you will say, it's hard, it's impossible. That is the similar scenario in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. For you to understand. That Sayyidina Ismail was his beloved son. That after such a long age, he was such a person of elderly age. 90s or whatever they say, white beard, grey hair. And Allah SWT bestowed him with a son, a wonderful son. And now Allah SWT is saying, oh Ibrahim, it's time for sacrifice. He was the most beloved thing to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah SWT could see in his heart that this is the most beloved thing. And because of this, Allah SWT, it is His might and glory the way in which He actually trains His prophets and messengers, the way He does it, deals with the prophets is different to me and you. But to train him, to elevate him, He said, oh Ibrahim, you need to sacrifice Ismail. That's the most beloved thing to you. And I should be the most beloved. It is not right, I can see this. And you know, what do we recite in the days of Hajj? In the days of the Talbid, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahil hamd. It's a beautiful incident, this. Because Sayyidina, imagine now, go back to the time of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Imagine now the hukam has come that he has to now sacrifice Sayyidina Ismail. Angels and malaika seeing this. Angels and malaika, angels are seeing this. They're saying, the first part, Allahu Akbar, is they said that Jibreel Islam came. And he said, Allahu Akbar, oh Jibreel, stop. The main indication we get here, he's trying to say, stop, oh Jibreel. Oh, stop, oh Ibrahim alayhi salam, stop. Don't do it. Because this is a beloved, it's a test from Allah SWT, but stop it. Don't actually use the knife and the sword to actually chop him. No, don't sacrifice him. Stop there, wait. They could see, they say the malaika in Tafsir ibn Kathir, 3 times in which the angels cried. There are 3 times in which the angel cried. One of the instances when they were about to see that Sayyidina Ibrahim was about to actually sacrifice Sayyidina Ismail. They cried at that time. Imagine all the malaika crying that what is Ibrahim alayhi doing to Ismail. So when we say Allahu Akbar, Allah, that Jibreel is saying, oh, so the malaika said, oh Jibreel, you are our leader, you are our master, try to stop him. Try to go and stop him. So Jibreel comes running down, flying down, coming down. Oh Ibrahim Islam, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's what the Jibreel Islam saying. But just to show me and you, and just to show the whole of the malaika how beloved Hazrat Ibrahim Islam is, that there's nothing more greater and more beloved to him than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ibrahim Islam said to Jibreel Islam, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar. That, oh Jibreel, there is nothing more beloved to me, and I am willing to sacrifice anything and everything for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that La ilaha illallah, there is nothing more worthier and to worship than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's nothing. La ilaha illallah. Not my son, not my wife, not my family, not this place. I'm willing to sacrifice me, myself, let alone me, myself, anything and everyone for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He is the greatest. Wallahu Akbar. Jibreel Islam understood. Malaika understood. And they said, look at the Iman of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam. Look at his Iman. That he's given a message. That is why Allah SWT glees with happiness these prophets, and He's raised these prophets and messages as an example to show the angels how beloved insan is in the sight of Allah SWT. That there is such servant of His. The malaika is saying, stop. The purity of the malaika, the innocence of the malaika, angels. And they're even saying, stop Jibreel, stop. Ibrahim Islam, stop. He's saying, no, nothing can hinder me between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing will hinder me. I realize this is a test, and I will now demonstrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are more beloved, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Nothing is in my heart. You are more greater. Then what happened? Allahu Akbar, walillahil hamd. Sayyidina Ismail, when he was revealed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided that he wasn't going to be sacrificed, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replaced him with another animal, lamb or so, This is when Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, truly Ya Rabbal Alameen. You've exchanged me for another animal and you give me life. You are truly the greatest Ya Rabbal Alameen. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And all praise belongs to you. Walillahi alhamd. That this beautiful story of the talbiyah that we recite when we walk into the masjid on the day of Eid, this story, it's all about the Qurbani, but here is showing me and you, just by the talbiyah, is showing me and you how our state of heart and mind should be really as true Muslims, that we are prepared to sacrifice anything and everything for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now coming back, what do we do? Normally is that we give Qurbani, a sheep, a goat, a cow. That's what we're doing. And I said before, Qurbani really is that it's an exemplification of us, our life that we've given to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But have we really given our life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What I'm saying is that if life comprises of joys and happiness, loyalty, warmth, love, wealth, health, family, all of these things you put into life and you put into an animal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying sacrifice. Well, sometimes our children, our wives are telling us to do something against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. Where's the sacrifice then? Where's the Qurbani then? You can see this boy, this girl, your wife, you can see yourself, you can see your family, you can see your relatives going against Allah's command. But you're participating as well. Where's the sacrifice? Where's the Qurbani there? Like just yesterday, it's a popular thing. There was yesterday, just to show you how important it is to not just say that I'm a Muslim, but not by with zaban like myself, but yourself are good people. We should show it to the akhlaq and character as well. Yesterday around about 10:15 at night time, just before Isha, in one of the corners in our house, in our neighborhood, they're having a wedding. Or it's not the wedding, but I think the mangni happened, and basically the wedding is going to be in about another couple of weeks. So as being happy and joyous is good and well, but unfortunately in front of my mother's house is that there is a non-Muslim house. And in our own houses, my nieces and nephews actually come and the children are asleep at that time. Non-Muslim is a white male and female, they live there. As soon as they heard the fireworks going off and the screams of the people, which is literally, they blocked the whole, one is that they blocked the roads with the cars. So literally you can't really go in and out, and it's one of the main roads in our locality. And what they've also done is that now people have congregated in that road, they blocked it off, and now they're doing the fireworks at that time. And what I'm trying to say is that there is a time for this, or it's not a problem. So the neighbor came out saying, "What are you doing? My child is trying to sleep. Is this the time to be doing fireworks? It's a working day. We have to go to work." Now imagine, this is what a non-Muslim is saying to the Muslim family, who this family, by the way, are practicing as well. Then what happens? The non-Muslim is saying, "What are you doing?" Complaining. It came to such a complaint they were about to actually go into fight. That's how upset the neighbor was. What sort of, now for example here is that if we really want to promote and show Islam in the truest form, the most beautiful way, it's not done through speeches like this, it's not done through debates and arguments, it's done through character and conduct. They could have gone to a park maybe, I don't know, or daytime or whatever, or they could have enjoyed and show celebration and how wonderful it is. But where did the fireworks come from Islam? Where did the message come, disturb your neighbors in Islam? Where did the message come where you block the whole roads in Islam? Islam didn't teach this. But because me and you now are representing Islam, the non-Muslim is saying this is what Islam teaches. This is what they teach. This is how can we possibly actually tolerate this? Forget about thinking about Daesh and all these other people, those terrorists and so on, which is in the corner of the world. Our brothers in humanity, sisters in humanity, are not seeing them, they're seeing me in you. We are the representative of Islam, the face of Islam. And if we do not present ourselves in the right way, the media, whatever they portray, is the image they'll get of us. Not what we want to show, what we want them to see, but whatever the media says. And then we back it up by our conduct as well. So even this morning today, it's not the story, but here what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to showing and sacrificing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have we really given a Qurbani? You know, they say, give the lamb or the sheep or the cat, the best sacrificial animal. We will give the cheapest, whatever the cheapest Qurbani is. Where's the cheapest? Oh, it's about £30 here. Okay, we'll select this one. This is good. I've saved my money. I'm very clever. Who are you giving it to? Imagine everybody will have this. You have somebody who's significant, important. I'm just saying in cultural wise, what happens is that when it comes to weddings, and so that the family doesn't get shown up, they buy the best of food, the best of clothes and say, this is us, here you go. That's our clothes. So they never say anything. So that they don't think that you actually, but they say that this is us, to make a statement. Now this is the Lord of the universe. And Allah has given us all these anamas and blessings. Itne ni'mat diya tha, Allah has given us so much ni'mat, so much blessing, so much wealth, so much good fortune. And yet still we're the most stingiest people when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here you go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a khizan from the universe, from the whole of the world. He's given us such treasures. And what we're doing is the most stingiest in this bakhil way. Here you go, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From your treasure, I'm just giving this 1p back. Here you go. That's what we're doing. Now that's just a tangible thing which I'm saying. Something like an animal is tangible. Allah says, give something which is of good quality. You should give the best of sacrifices. Spiritual, listen to me, spiritual, what it should be is the best of sacrifices. The sacrifice, let me tell you, what would be the best sacrifice in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Remember the ayah that the blood, the meat of the animal doesn't reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The blood of the animal doesn't reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Your piety, your God consciousness. Taqwa reaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, spiritually is that what Allah says that, oh my servant, give me the best of sacrifices. What's the sacrifice? Best of sacrifice. In other words, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is getting is that what is the most precious thing to you? It may be a sin. It may be a sin which is so beloved to you. A sin that you enjoy. They take pleasure in. And this sin is the thing that actually hinders you to getting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if this is more beloved to you, give me this, my servant. Can you give this to me? That's the best of sacrifice. Can you slit the throat of that sin with tawbah, with obedience and dhikr? Can you do it? So imagine, for example, we've got the animal. What does the animal have? It has a tongue. When we sacrifice animal, the tongue is sacrificed. So that zaban which actually, in other words, is that the tongue which actually is sinful, backbites, curses other people, harms other people, hurts other people's hearts with that tongue. Can you do qurban of that zaban for me, O my servant? What else does the animal have? It has eyes. The eyes which actually goes towards lust, towards envy, towards greed of others and others' property. Can you sacrifice those eyes for me, O my servant? What does the animal have? He has ears as well. So the animal's ears, it listens, it hears, hear gossiping, backbiting, chit-chatting of others, defaming others. Here, can you sacrifice those ears for me, O my servant? What else does it have? He has feet, he has a stomach. The haram, what does the animal like to have? Grass, fresh grass, good food. Can you now sacrifice the stomach and not partake in haram, wealth and rizq? Can you do that for me, O my servant? Can you really slay it and cut it? Feet, going towards places. He likes to go to here, here, there. Can you now do Qurbani of your feet and not meet those people? Go to those places where destruction is coming to you. What else does the animal have? He has a head. We cut the head off. What is the head? It likes to think, articulate its thoughts. Can you now sacrifice those evil thoughts and suspicious mind? The planning it does for me or my servant, can you now cut it? What else does it have? A heart. The animal has a heart. This heart, it likes to have animosity, jealousy of others, looking down on others. These evil traits of the heart. Can you now cut and slay that for me or my servant? That is the real sacrifice. What else does the animal have when it was alive? It also had wants and desires. It has wishes. In other words, the nafs. It has a nafs. The animal had a nafs. It has desires. It had wants. Can you now cut, slay the nafs, the desires, the ego, for me or my servant? That is the holistic Qurbani. The real Qurbani, which Allah and His messengers wanted from me and you. Now ask yourself, हम कहते थे Qurbani did, alhamdulillah, Qurbani diya. So was I given the Qurbani on the day of arriving at the masjid, just for the Eidgah, he would go, Qurbani kitne? That is just a ritualistic form. The real Qurbani is this which I'm saying to you. The teachings of the Mashayikh, the teaching of the Awliya and Salihin, the teaching of Ghaus Pak, what they're saying. This is the real Qurbani. Have me and you done this Qurbani? Have you really done it? And what happens is that, what do they recite before do the Qurbani? Before the slaying? Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Bismillah, in the name of Allah. In other words, is that if you really want to cut your desires, if you really want to actually cut and do Qurbani of your evil state, and if you want to be steadfast on this, you begin by the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Name of Allah, you do it for the sake of Allah, and you remember and glorify Allah, and with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is how it starts, and this is how it's maintained. That is what you can do, so we can attain the reality of Qurbani. And then what do we do with the meat? We spread it and distribute it. Don't we? We spread the meat. The spreading of meat, what does it do? It gives energy to others, provides comfort for others. In other words, is that once you really sacrifice the evil desires in you, only goodness should come in you, and spread that goodness to others. Good should come from you, your zaban, your eyes, your hands, your feet. Help others. Be kind to others. Be generous to others. Only goodness. Distribute the meat, distribute the goodness which is emanating from you to one household to another, to one family to another, to one colleague to another. Only goodness should emanate from you. Because why? Like the meat benefits and nourishes, the good quality which is coming from you should nourish and benefit others as well as yourself. This is Qurbani. Not the Qurbani that you do every year, but this is the reality of Qurbani. Now, my dear brothers and elders, you've got to ask yourself, sisters who are listening, are you giving this sort of Qurbani? Are you really sacrificing and giving the best of Qurbani to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So this is the beauty of Islam, is that what we're doing in our, unfortunately it's not the fault of any ulama or such, but the mindset that we've been brought up from bachpan se till now is Islam is just a ritualistic form. It's a set of rituals. Maslan, I'll give you an example. You go to learn, you go to read the Qaeda, the Quran, you go to Maktab. What you do, you learn to read the Quran. They teach you dua, they teach you kalima, they teach you how to read the Quran, they teach you how to pray. That's it. Ritual. Bamain, ruku, yes, alhamdulillah. And we get happy. Oh, alhamdulillah, we are doing namaz. What we're doing? We're doing going down, bowing, sitting, ruku, alhamdulillah, we're happy. Recite the Quran, yes, I'm reciting nakiya milri, alhamdulillah, that's it. And what's been in is just nakiya, okay. The thing is that we've adopted the outward form, but we've forgotten the spirit of that worship. The spirit, the essence, the kernel of what that thing is. Another, for example, if I say to you, here's a banana. Here's a banana. Now, for those of you who are actually listening, what does a banana have? Young man, what does a banana have? That's it. What does a banana have? Huh? You don't know? You've never seen a banana? Okay, describe to me a banana. What's banana? It's, mashallah, it's yellow. Good. You can get different color bananas. You know, there's 200 varieties of bananas, but anyway, we'll go for yellow. Okay, banana looks yellow. What is yellow? Tell me, what is the yellow? The color. But banana, I know this is Nelson. Now we'll come to different territory here. I've been told you this is it's a mulk in its own mulk. Okay, this is Nelson for you. Okay, it's a land in its own land. So come on, tell me, Nelson. Come on, tell me, what is a banana? It's a fruit, isn't it? Yeah. Describe to me what a banana consists of. I know it's a color yellow. Tell me, you can do better. It's a mushy thing. Okay, brother, don't let me down here now. What is a banana? What does it consist of? Okay, it consists of energy and nutrient, right? Brother, you there, what is a banana? Tell me what a banana, describe to me a banana. Somebody who's never known a banana. What is a banana? Please help me here.
It's a yellow fruit.
It's a yellow fruit. Well, what does it have?
It has the skin outside, the yolk.
Mashallah. Right. He has the skin outside and he has the fruit, the actual fruit cell in the mushy thing that the brother said, and the nutrients that this brother said, is the inside part. It has a skin. Now, have you ever seen anybody eating the skin and say, mashallah, this is very nice? Does anybody eat the skin? I know now that they're trained to go to. Does anybody eat the skin and say, oh, alhamdulillah, the skin is beautiful. Oh, wonderful skin. It was very nice, very, very juicy. Very new. Nobody, they think you're pagal. You think you're crazy, isn't it? This is what we're doing with Islam. Is that Islam has an outward form and it has a spirit. The namaz that you're doing, the outer form is ruku and sajda. The fasting that you do is to stop from eating and drinking. That's like the skin. And we're satisfied, alhamdulillah, we're having the skin, we're having the skin. मैं रोज़ा रख रहा हूँ, मैं नमाज पढ़ रहा हूँ, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, हज पे जा रहा हूँ, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, zakat दे रहा हूँ. We're having the skin. Now, if I was to tell you, wait a minute, you're praying, where's the spirit? What's the spirit of namaz, of salah? What's the spirit of fasting? What's the spirit of Qurbani? What's the spirit of Hajj? Have you ever ate this? Have you digested this? Have you implemented this? Have you tried this? Because you're all telling me the beneficial part, the important part, the part in which there is nutrients, energy, is in the spirit, the fruit of the banana. And that's why we are hollow people inside, because Islam isn't just about the skin or the outer, but it goes complementary with the inner. And we're hollow. Namaz, we're coming here, ask yourself, have I really connected? Namaz was supposed to, the Prophet ﷺ said, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni salli, is that pray as you see me praying. Now we've taken this pray as you see me praying, meaning that, now who is he saying to? Sahaba. Sahaba radhiyallahu ajma'in. Rasul saying to Sahaba. Now the Sahaba learned salah from the Prophet ﷺ. It wasn't just ruku and sajda. There's something else they also learned as well. The inner aspect, inner dimension of prayer. The inner dimension of Hajj. The inner dimension of fasting. The inner dimension of Qurbani, like I just told you, the reality. So Islam has a form and it has a spirit. Deen has a form and a spirit. The ibadat that you're doing has a form and a spirit. Even durood, salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you just keep on saying Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, Allahumma salli, yeah, reward is there. Yeah, you, inshallah, your durood will be accepted. But the actual benefit that's really supposed to be actually the benefit, which really is supposed to transform you, won't be there. Why? Because we adopted the form and not the spirit. And that is something significant you need to understand. So now these days of Dhul Hijjah is coming. Now you heard the virtues of it. And say, okay, now I've heard Brother Qais saying, it's very virtuous, right, okay, my timetable next thing, I'm going to be fasting. Don't just keep fast for the sake of that is keeping fast. Learn what it means to keep fast. Learn how you can actually refrain from these desires which is within you. And how to learn about that, how to stop that, how to eradicate these evils within you. Inshallah, there'll be brothers here after the program. If you want to sit with them for 10-15 minutes, they'll explain to you how you can actually systematically adopt that spirit of Islam inside you. Taste the spirit of Islam, the fruits of Islam inside you, to develop that so that it really transforms you. So that this year when you say, have you done your Qurbani? You can really say, yes, I've tried to do my Qurbani this year properly. The best of Qurbani. The best of Qurbani that I've tried to do. That is what you can say with happiness and joy. That I've actually tried to do that. Not just about feeding, not just about giving the meat, but the desires, the khashawats and the desires, and the things that hinders me and you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His presence. I've really now cut this and I've slain it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all. I thank you for actually coming and listening, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all and appreciate these blessed days of Dhul Hijjah which is coming up, and take advantage of these blessed days. And for that, we've got a leaflet for those people, elders, uncles who are here who can understand Urdu. There's a whole leaflet here where you can actually take with you. It tells you the amals and deeds that you can do in the days of Dhul Hijjah, and how to occupy your time so you can maximize the blessings of Dhul Hijjah, the days of Dhul Hijjah in the best possible way. Those of you, for example, is the days of Hajj. You want a Hajj, don't you? I'm just going to finish on this note. You want the days of Hajj. You can't go, it's very expensive. Isn't it? £5,000, £6,000. Who can afford this? You know, our uncle here will be telling me that he remembered the days when he probably went for Hajj for £100 or £200. I don't know. In those times. Now it's £5,000, £6,000. That's nearly like, so for some people, half a year's of wages. So some people. For others, it's more or less impossible. But it's not about, again, ritualistic. If you want reward, and then if you go to Hajj, there's no guarantee that you'll actually receive the reward either. You may be doing things which is wrong, and you probably instead getting close, and you could be getting furtherness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it may not be accepted. But if you want a maqbool Hajj, which is qabul and accepted, very easy. Very cheap as well. Do you all want to know how you can do it? Everybody can practice this. Just come at Fajr. Come at Fajr. And this is the beauty of Islam. It's not looking at how much wealth you have, how clever you are, how able you are. You are ill, you are sick. No, Islam doesn't look at this. Whatever you are, you can still be a blessed person. You can be a blessed person, whatever you are. So you want a Hajj. Come at Fajr. Come at Fajr time. Pray your Fajr. After Fajr, I know there'll be uncles who want to lock the door away. Just say, Uncle, I'm just going to stay for a while. I'm going to stay for a while. Sit there. Nowadays, the Fajr is nearly, I think, about 5:15 or so, sometimes 5:20 the sun rises. Sit for a short while until sunrise. After sunrise, just do 2 rakat nafil of Ishraq. Whilst you're sitting before sunrise, do some tilawat of the Quran. Recite the Musnun Askar, do tilawat of the Quran. Do some dhikr, do some tasbihat. I'm just giving you an advice for Dhul Hijjah what you can do, and even other days as well. do some tilawat, do some dhikr, wait till the sunrise, just do 2 rakahs of nafal, of ishraq, you will get the reward of one maqbool hajj. Easy. £6,000, you don't know if it's guaranteed that you're actually going to get accepted or not. This is accepted if you do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not sat there just to show uncles and others I'm pious and righteous. No, you're doing it purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake. Do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure. That if you sit there, do reflect. Muraqabah kar le. Zindagi kaise ja rahe aa rahe. Do this. This was the thing that Prophet ﷺ was doing in Hira before revelation came. Thinking about life, where is life taking me? What is happening to society? How can I help the society? And the jawab came in the form of the Quran. So here, if you sit in his house to remember him, do you not think you will be blessed as well? Converse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is maybe the time that you can make where you talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Find a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then offer 2 rakat of ishraq, reward of hajj. And you can do what? Not just one. Any time, any day of the year, you can do this. 365 hajj you can have, which is qabul, accepted. But we just need to make that time. Prioritize. Give the significance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Show He is truly the greatest. Give significance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Give thanks to him. And then serve the creation in the best possible way. Jazakumullah khairan. Jazak. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.